Hello, my name is William, and welcome to another video demonstrating how we automate Oracle R12 or Fusion ERP support or back office processes. We leverage automation technologies such as UiPath RPA for robotic process automation and others such as artificial intelligence or human-in-loop processes. At a high level, our support automation followed this process. The robots detects the issues, then analyze to determine the root cause. Third, if required, we have a human-in-loop process to make a decision or to provide additional information. Finally, the robot goes ahead with the resolution flow. So far, we've created hundreds of ready-to-implement flows, handling common issues or errors within Oracle. Some are not really errors, but more what we call business proactive flows, which attempts to resolve transactions gone past due or sitting in hold, etc. Over to you.
Thanks, Willem. This is Harish Vanagopalachar. I am part of Symprio and I am leading the Oracle ERP and business transformation initiatives. I have functional expertise in finance and supply chain areas, and I have over 20 years of experience in Oracle ERP, business intelligence, and RPA implementations for large global clients in various industry verticals. Today, I will walk you through a demo on how a robot can detect errors in Oracle ERP and trigger human-in-loop process to resolve those errors. In this demo, we are going to demonstrate common issues in purchase order interface where robot detects interface errors, work with relevant business users to get inputs and resolve issues, or proactively create incidents with relevant team in ServiceNow if resolution was not provided by business users. There are several possible errors in purchase order interface. Robot can resolve most of these issues with human-in-loop process. Here are a few of the common causes. Supplier master issues such as invalid supplier or supplier sites or supplier not enabled for purchasing, item master issues such as invalid items or incorrect item attributes, invalid category codes for expense purchase orders. In this process, robot create multiple tasks for business users to provide inputs for fixing these errors. The notification will be sent via email and also via Microsoft Teams or Workplace Chat. Robot routes the communication to appropriate business users based on grouping criteria such as business unit, buyer, and source reference information, or any other predefined business rules. Let me explain briefly how we build this automation flow in UiPath. We have built a closed loop flow in UiPath Studio to perform the actions for above scenario. If robot fails to execute the flow, it will trigger a notification to automation team about the automation failure. Firstly, the robot collects required configuration files and tests the connection to Oracle database. Once the robot successfully collects the data, it will execute the SQL query to identify any errors. If it finds the error transactions, the robot will determine the resolution path for the given error based on predefined rules. In this case, it will continue by creating a UiPath Action Center task with error details and actions that business user can take against each error. This is how the process flow was built in UiPath Studio. Now let's move on to the demo of this process. Firstly, let's see if there are any errors in purchase order interface. So once I query, I find some records in error. So these belong to two purchase order reference from source systems. The first one is having a vendor site ID error, which is at the header level, and the second one is having line level error, which is actually one for invalid item and the other for invalid category ID issue. So in this case, the system will notify two tasks for the user to take action. Let's launch the process from UiPath Orchestrator. So this is the UiPath Orchestrator form. So in this case, I can see all the process that I can execute, or generally in production, all these processes will be triggered at certain intervals. So I am running this process manually now for finding and fetching the PO interface errors. So I am launching the robot that is available in this case. And the first job the robot will execute is to find the errors from the interface table. And then it will create tasks based on relevant rules. So you can see the process is running. So I should be able to receive the notification, and I already see a ping in Microsoft Teams regarding the error notification. Let me go to Microsoft Teams and see the details. So in this case, it has created two tasks because there are two purchase orders in error. So both the tasks have specific lanes and different task IDs for me to take action, and the actions are different in these cases since the errors are different. And I would also receive an email on my Outlook about the same details where user can take relevant action So this is the Outlook. It has the exact same details as we saw in the Microsoft Teams. So it has all the necessary details for user to see what's the issue and what action should be taken. Once I click the link, it will bring me to the Action Center form where I can see the same details. This is the first purchase order, which is having a vendor site ID error, and it is also recommending me the options for me to take. And it also gives me the line details and other necessary details for me to take appropriate action. So in this case, I can actually go ahead and select the first option, which is update the supplier site, or I can actually create a ServiceNow ticket with MDM team also to fix the supplier if there are any issues. So in this case, I'm just going ahead and updating the supplier site, and I'll click submit. So I can also select the other task which is already waiting in my queue. So I first submit this, and then system will take me to the other task which is open in my name. So this is for the second purchase order. So this purchase order has line level errors. The first line is having item ID error, and second line is having category ID error, which are basically invalid in this case. So I'll choose the option to fix this error. So first one is to update the item number if the item number had a typo coming in from the source system. So I'll update the item number in this case. For the second line, I'll go and update the category code that is right for this purchase order. This is a expense purchase order line. I'm going to update the category code, and then I'll submit the request. Once I click submit, these tasks will be completed and robot will trigger the next job in the workflow. The next job is to run the update script to update the data in the PO interface. So in this case, it's already run and successful. So now let's go back to Oracle database and see if the error record exists. So let me query the data. So in this case, you can see there's no errors in the system right now. Let's go back to Oracle and see if the purchase order has been imported. So these jobs can be scheduled or even be triggered from the robot. So in this case, it's a scheduled job in Oracle. And let's query the purchase order if it has been created or not. You can see 2 purchase orders have been created successfully now, and there's no errors. And we can see the details also in this case by opening the purchase orders. This comes to the end of our demo on how a robot works with human in loop process to resolve issues. Thank you for watching the demo. Over to you, Willem.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to our Oracle Automation YouTube channel. We launched this YouTube channel to provide practical examples on how Oracle R12 or Fusion, both for support as well as back office processes, can be nearly fully automated using automation technologies such as RPA or robotic process automation, as well as artificial intelligence and others. If interested to learn more, drop us a note at contact@Symprio. Thanks.